this is going to have a long intro, so what I'm going to do is just look at the description box, and I will tell you the time where I start talking about this, actually talking about this. Okay, so the first, because I want to intro with this guy here, okay, before I get into the what this video is about. People who've been watching me for a while know that I called this guy out. I pull up the video, but it doesn't matter. I called him out about it. I don't remember, a year ago, maybe even a little bit longer than that. Okay, because he has been pushing the Active 1871 more than anybody on YouTube, in my opinion. In fact, he is the guy that showed me it and introduced it to me. Okay? So what happened was, because I don't want this to be confusing, because I just want people to know that this is where I stand with this guy, and why am I standing, I don't want people to think, well, you were just kind of talking smack about, I wasn't talking smack about the guy, but you just made a video not, a year or two ago talking about this guy, now you're quote, promoting him or whatever you want to call it, so I just don't want it to be confusing. Okay? So I made a video, and I believe the Act of 1871. I talked about it a whole bunch of times, but then there was this guy that came on, not him, but there was another guy who came on the internet, and he supposedly was a lawyer and all this kind of stuff, and he made this huge website saying how the Act of 1871 and the United States Corporation stuff was all bullshit, it's all a lie, it's all just a scam being played on the internet. So all I did is I texted this guy and I said, hey, check out this dude saying it's a lie. Well, the dude banned me, blocked me, all that stuff, okay? So then I made a video and said, hey, check out this douchebag blocking and banning me for asking a question. So then it's all dramatic bullshit, but I was just trying to show this guy that there was someone disputing the claim, and since he pushed it so much, I thought maybe it'd be kind of important for him to look into, since this was his thing. And if you watch any of his intros to his videos, you'll see this is his thing. Like I said, he's been pushing it harder than anybody on the internet, on YouTube, at least in my opinion, okay? So he made a response video and said, well, I didn't block you, but he did, because it was under a different account. But that's not important. What's important is that he debunked the guy, quickly. And he even said, hey, why are you making a big deal out of this when I debunked this guy in like 30 seconds? Okay, well, if it's so easily debunkable, then he should have just debunked it without blocking me. But it doesn't, this is all just dramatic bullshit that doesn't mean anything. It's nonsense. But I just wanted to point it out so people aren't confused and saying, well, why are you arguing with this guy, a while ago, and now you're saying he's right, which I've always said he was right. I just said in the video that I made in the comment, here's a guy disputing it. Would you please look into it? Okay, and he did. And so none of that stuff matters, because I personally want to thank this guy for doing this. He's been doing a great job with this, and we all have to start somewhere. Whenever you first start waking up, you have to learn how the whole system is rigged and work your way from there. So we all have to start somewhere, and this is a monumentally important piece of information that this guy has been pushing for a long time, years now. Okay, so here is Zero Hedge. This is mainstream media. This is on Glenn Beck. This has been on Dana Lash. I just saw it on CNBC a week ago. In fact, if you just do a Google search for it, the CNBC, the financial channel, the channel it's on, the TV channel, they were making fun of Zero Hedge, calling them conspiracy theorists, because Zero Hedge is bought and paid for like every other website out there, but they really do tell a lot of truth. And so CNBC, being big-time corporate mouthpieces, the Satan government corporation, were calling Zero Hedge and people who read it, conspiracy theorists. And that by itself is an admission that this side is right. If mainstream media, and I mean something like CNBC, calls Zero Hedge conspiracy theorists, or says anything's a conspiracy theory, you better damn well look into it for yourself, because chances are it's a very true statement. So without further ado here, since I had this super long intro, but I just wanted to clear the air, and I wanted to personally thank Tattooed, because 10 disturbing facts most Americans are too fearful to face. Number 2. As a result of the Act of 1871 by the 41st Congress, the United States Corporation was created to trample the original republic. Shockingly, this fraudulent, synthetic corporate government entity is the only United States most people in America know today. And this non-governmental corporate entity covering a 10-square-mile grid in Washington, D.C. parades as a sovereign legitimate government and has been doing so for over 100 years. Of all the things that need to be repaired and reversed in the United States, the single issue is the one most important root issue for people to wrap their heads around. Imagine the impact of getting a real grassroots movement of people to push awareness of the truth of the current District of Columbia U.S. corporate government and the corresponding imitation Constitution of the United States instead of for the United States as stated in the original organic document. This is one of those issues that most people don't know where to start, how to apply this idea, and how to lead this idea in a meaningful way so that they simply give up. The fact is that people are afraid to face the mega-sized issue with overwhelming implications for the average person. Let's keep going. And it talks about the 7 countries in 5 years where they talked about invading the Middle East, Jade Helm, how chemtrails are real. The U.S. military and its defense contractors have over 150 plus live and legitimate patents for spraying the sky with nanoparticles, all while the masses are told it's a conspiracy. Number 6. The entire debt-based fiat worthless money paper circulating in the U.S. is supplied and controlled by a private corporation with no legal authority to do so. We call them the Federal Reserve. It's the illegal private banking system created officially in 1913 under the Federal Reserve Act, which Congress gave a green light to. This single act essentially handed the United States of America to a gang of private bankers with no accountability to the people. Along with the Act of 1871, the Federal Reserve Act is one of the most significant and horrific turning points in the history of America. An act that accounts for many of the problems and sufferings in America for now over 100 years. If enough people could finally wrap their heads around this single reality that a private illegal mob of banksters have psyched out and enslaved Americans, fooling them into accepting their fake fiat currency while ensuring their perpetual enslavement, the full-on revolution would start today. Now I would show it but screencast on my computer doesn't play audio. I will put a video below from Meet the Press with Alan Greenspan, who is probably the most famous, well-known Federal Reserve Bank chairman and one of the longest holding ones, if not longest holding Federal Reserve chairman that's ever existed. And you can hear out of his own mouth, he says the Federal Reserve is an independent agency. They are not part of the United States government. They are not national. They are not United States or American. They are a, quote, independent agency. So, all this done here. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to everyone who watches this video. And thank you to TAT1009. Whether you think he's a shill or whether you think he's paid off or not, you know, he's been pushing this super hard, and I appreciate it.